Hey, what's up?
Hey Andre, how are you?
Hey, doing great. Thank you very much. How about yourself? Am I late? Am I a bit late? I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's totally fine. That's totally not a problem at all, Andre. How
All
are you
right.
today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I just had a friend over from Texas visiting, like an old
Ah,
school metalhead. He used to
uh,
play bass in a band called Cemeterian, old school death metal. Awesome stuff. So just showing him Slovenia, Ljubljana, and looking forward to this interview, man.
wonderful, wonderful, Andre.
Thanks for
So,
having me.
my pleasure, Andre. So, Andre, Eldritch Anatomy, your debut album is to be out on September 2nd. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and production behind this debut album?
So how we wrote the songs?
Yeah, the songwriting and the production behind this album.
Right. The songwriting and the production. Um, the reception is a bit bad, so I'm having trouble making some stuff out, but I'll do my best. So, the songwriting, for us, it's very integral that the things are catchy. That's like the number one thing that we always make sure to get down, and that I think kind of differentiates us from a lot of other old school death metal bands and black metal bands. So how we do it basically is, I think at least, it's how the old school bands did it, where you come up with a riff, and usually that will be just a stroke of inspiration. You're either meditating on a certain topic, like a lot of the times, like a title, the title will come first, and you meditate on the topic, and you just visualize the music um, along to that topic. For example, a title as strong as Cadaver Synod, at least to me, when I got that, the song kind of automatically, at least the first couple of riffs, automatically wrote themselves. And then what we do is, like the old school aspect that I mentioned before, we get together with Yaka, our guitar player,
Mhm,
and we bounce ideas off of each other. I'll play him a riff, or he'll play me one.
mhm.
And what we do is, like, especially if you get stuck, you ask the other person, the other guitar player, to write the next one, you know. So you just kind of fill out the blanks the other person has. So usually it's the title and the riffs that come together, and the lyrics follow after that. So you kind of have the story that you want to tell with the title first. You tell the story with the music, and then you paint the images behind the story with the lyrics in the end. And the production we did in a studio that I work at, along with two other guys. It's called Negligence Studios.
Mhm.
And it's up in the hillside near Ljubljana, so it's a very well equipped studio. So it's basically state of the art for recording metal. Um, and that's definitely a big plus. And the seclusion and isolation is another big thing. It's like almost like Bronner Hour, Led Zeppelin, just
Yeah.
locking yourself away in a cottage and letting inspiration take over, and just not be disturbed by city life. The amenities are very, very basic, and there's no disturbances from the city, no supermarkets, nothing that would basically distract you. So you lock yourself up in a studio in the hillside, and you just do it. The technology is there for recording, but nothing else that would take away from that. So we basically did it like I always do records. For other bands, it was no different. I helmed the production, helmed the engineering. We did drums, and our drummer Winko was super prepared. We knocked the drums out in a day and a half, and the guitars, and the bass and the vocals, everything was done really quickly, because the band was so well rehearsed and had done so many gigs and tested the material live on stage. We could actually play entire takes of songs, or like we'd play half a song until the break, and then record the other half after the break comes. There's like no guitars, like a bass break or whatever, and then just continue with guitars or vocals or whatever, and do whole takes. So you're basically almost listening to what you would hear if you went to see us live. And I did not want to correct the mistakes and play fiddle with the drums, like a lot of very modern death metal bands or black metal bands do. Just wanted to leave it there and let it breathe, because this is a type of music I think that needs to breathe on album and live. So yeah, that was it.
Amazing, amazing, Andrej. And was there any particular concept or theme the album was focused on?
It's not a concept album like you would expect from, I don't know, a progressive band from the 70s, or like from King Diamond, where it tells a story. It's not like that. But as we were finishing the record, we kind of saw that automatically all the songs were dealing with different aspects of transitioning from the state of being alive to the state of death. Now, the reason why I'm not saying dying is because if you say that, a lot of people get like the image, especially in death metal, the songs are about murder, physical violence, somebody getting killed. It's not about that at all with us. It's more coming from a literary or philosophical standpoint. For example, Death Vernacular, part of what that song is about is language. Because two of us in the band are linguists. We teach English and I teach German. Yeah, the guitar player teaches Spanish. And the thing is, the song deals with what happens to your internal language, your internal monologue when life starts leaving you. That question, how do you process thought as you're preparing to die, basically, as your body is preparing to die. Or, for example, Lowermost Baptisms deals with a completely different view on it. It takes from a Slovene writer called Drago Jančar and his novel Katarina Pau in Jesuit, which is about a group of pilgrims on their way to Cologne to see the cathedral in Cologne, and the relics there at the cathedral. Originally the pilgrimage, I suppose, for Christians would start with noble intentions, but then the pilgrimage devolved, and the book, it devolves into debauchery, sin, and everybody just committing basically atrocities, and the party of pilgrims. And there's a lot of death, on the way as well. So that song, for example, explores the connection between religious dogma and death, and everything that can go wrong in between, how one thing can lead to another, how religious dogma views death on one hand, or and how it can cause it on the other hand. But I never try to preach in the lyrics as well. So none of the album is nothing will tell you specifically what to think, or there's a lot of value in a lot of literature and a lot of mysticism, a lot of Christian eschatology. A lot of that stuff has a lot of value, and it is extremely stupid and reductive, from my point of view, to just be one of those bands that turns the crosses, like Sodom says, turn the cross upside down. That worked for 1985, and do not misunderstand that as the band being pro-Christian. That is also absolutely not the case. But I think if you are writing about the occult and you're studying the occult, and that's what you're dedicating your creative output to, you should listen to different voices and different philosophies and extract value from all of them. So that's kind of what's behind the record. A lot of it is inspired by the Bible. It's inspired by Christian history, but it's also inspired from taking strength from perverting, or turning that dogma and those teachings, the philosophy behind it, to suit your own needs, which is I suppose what one of the bases of occult practice, taking different materials and transmuting them into your own vision of gold. And that's what That's what the album is about, taking from different sources. Like I said, it can be a book, it can be a novel, it could be, like I said, just pondering on linguistics and transmuting that through the lens of death, and basically trying to obtain some kind of wisdom and knowledge on the topic of death without passing judgment on it, without saying, you know, death is bad, without saying, you know, the sin that lowermost baptisms describes is necessarily bad. The things that those pilgrims got up to in the book, that they're necessarily bad, but without also necessarily passing any kind of judgment, telling the listener this is good. You know, we give it to the listener and we let them extract their own wisdom from it. You know, but for me, I have my own personal, you know, I glean my own personal gold from the songwriting process. To me, it's about transmuting feelings and words into something that's intangible, you know, like alchemical gold, but for your soul as a creator, as an artist. That's what it is for me. So I can't tell you what it is for me, but I hope that the people who enjoy the music and listen to it get something from it, that they get to partake in this alchemical process, that it involves them as well as listeners and as readers of the lyrics.
Awesome. And you recently released an official video for the song Wild Grace, a great song, amazing video. And would you like to tell me a bit about the making of this video?
Oh, that was a crazy day. It was all shot in one day. And it involved fence jumping, it involved rushing from point A to B. It was, in our typical fashion, it was a bit ramshackle, but we made it all work in the end. Yeah. It was a lot of it was, like I said, getting to the location and a new challenge appearing on the location that we didn't expect before. Like I said, like jumping an electrified fence and almost getting electrified every single time we carried an amp on site. You know, it was a blazing hot day in June. So the underground location was a quarry. And what we had to do was we kept going in and out of the pit in the quarry. So we'd be going from 10-15 degrees Celsius and really high humidity into the blazing sunshine. You know, the girls in the video, the Kopitar twins, Dora and Anna, they really they were real soldiers when it came to that. You know, because they had it the worst. They were on camera the most because they have the most screen time in the video. So they really battled it out, you know. And we wanted those locations specifically because they're both close to the Slovene coast in the Slovene littoral, which is a marked difference to what you would normally see in a metal video, like a Nordic forest of some kind. We specifically wanted to put some of our culture that's specific to Slovenia there, even if it's just like present in the details, you know, maybe like the trees in the background. And we specifically wanted it to be evening, the changing of the time of day. Again, to deviate from the metal cliche of everything being nighttime, but also because Vile Grace is a song that is about, it's about change, and it's about two different poles, two different opposites interacting. You know, it can be black and white, it can be day and night, it can be male and female energy, and the changing of the time of day, you know, evening, that period was important for us to basically catch the golden hour, or, you know, a bit after, when night starts to fall, which meant we had to work really quickly and rush like crazy from one location to the other to catch that specific time of day, because budget and the way we had the place to ourselves only allowed for one day of shooting. So it was crazy, ramshackle, a bit dangerous, you know, with the electrified fence and all of that, but we made it all work, and everybody on the cast was a trooper.
And you guys have Any big plans on the day of the release on September 2nd?
What's that? Do we have?
Any big plans on the day of the release?
On the day of release, not specifically, but of course we are going to announce a release show where, you know, our local fans will get to hear the music, us playing the record live in its entirety for the first time, which is important to us, you know, to treat the people to that have been there since day one. So that's important, definitely. We can't disclose the date for the release party just quite yet, but it's not going to be on the day the album comes out. It's going to be a bit later, but yeah, the Slovenian fans are going to be the first to hear the whole thing in its entirety live with some special surprises. We got a Bathory cover planned, and just, you know, the way we do our show, which is paying homage to you know, the 80s originators, the way they did it, you know, candles, smoke, incense, and just reckless abandon on stage. That's what you can expect from us.
Amazing. And do you guys currently have any plans on going on an international tour?
Yeah, that's planned for next year. Yeah. Again, it's a bit early to be able to disclose any dates, but that will all be coming out. Definitely, yeah. This band was made for the stage, so we have plans and bands who we're talking with from Slovenia who I think are kind of like the premier representatives of you know, the type of metal that we play, which is, you know, very much traditional 80s influenced occult styled metal. So we want to, you know, join forces and present ourselves as like a unified force of this kind of metal coming from Slovenia abroad. So that's going to happen next year.
And the band was formed 2 years back. So would you like to tell me how you guys got together and formed this amazing band?
So me and Yaka, well, thank you for the kind words. First things first, Yaka and myself, we've been friends forever, you know. How long has it been? It's been longer than 10 years probably. So we'd always play guitar together and write little riffs here and there. So some of the music was already present before we put it to tape for the first time with Ensanguinate. But it basically grew from friendship and an appreciation for the same type of music, and not just the stuff that directly influences you, mind us. You know, we're both into 70s rock and heavy metal, and basically anything from the 80s that also carries that spirit. So we both of us, Yak had already quit his band. I was still in my old band, Eruption, and we were just talking spontaneously without any kind of plans, any kind of you know, big without any kind of intentions behind it, no big conceit behind it or anything like that. Just talking innocuously, hey man, we should start a band together that is about all the stuff that we like in extreme metal. I forget who it was who said that, but the other person said, yeah, let's do it. And within 5 minutes of the conversation, the band had spontaneously been born, and we had a lineup for it pretty much set already within that 5-minute conversation. And the next day was just a couple of phone calls. And the songs, like I said, there had been bits and pieces, and we were so inspired by that conversation that we sat down, put the bits and pieces together, wrote some new stuff, writing that initial wave of inspiration, made the phone calls, hey, do you want to play? Do you want to do this? And the initial lineup immediately agreed. We got together, we hit the studio, we went for drinks after we did the demo, and we asked ourselves, like we asked each other, is this it? Do you want to practice? Do you want to take this to the stage? Is this good enough? Does this make you feel, you know, what you want to feel when you play in a band, and everybody agreed. The aura, like I said, was very much informed by 80s death metal, such as Grotesque, Nihilist, Possessed, Old Entombed, Morbid Angel. And we felt the same way playing this kind of music we did listening to those albums that we loved. So it was a no-brainer. It was like, because at that point, if it would not have been authentic, if it would have been disingenuous, and if it would not have stood up, like if it would not been up to that standard that we set, you know, if we would not have felt that way while playing the music, we would have nixed it then and there. You know, after the demo would not have come out, man. I'm not like, it makes no sense to put out something you don't believe in, but our belief in it was so strong. We all agreed this should hit the stages and we should do a record with this. And that's how we still approach things right now, you know, like thinking one step ahead. Like I said, you know, our next step, the thing we're focusing now is practicing for the release show, you know, and adding some stuff from the demo that we haven't played live before, adding some stuff from the record that we haven't played live before, you know, we've never played it in its entirety, adding some covers. That's our focus right now. And after that, it's on to the next step, one day at a time. If you believe in yourself, like if we believe in what we're doing right now, that's enough for us, you know, one step ahead. Like I said, just like the next step, we have to believe in that, and then everything else will come after that. But if it wasn't for that initial meeting and the initial enthusiasm, like I said, I had to check that everybody was 100% into this, because this type of music falls flat if, you know, you're not into it, because it relies so much on enthusiasm and spirit.
Absolutely. And talking about the album, 9 great songs, beautiful songwriting, great musicianship, bringing back the good old 80s death metal back into the scene.
Yeah.
Totally outstanding work from you guys, and I really enjoyed each and every song from this album. Thank you so much for making one amazing album this year. So, as a band, how do you feel about the outcome of this one?
First things first, I'm so happy. Thank you for the kind words again, and I'm so happy you noticed what the band is about, that it brings back 80s death metal specifically, before you know, before black metal and death metal kind of got split into two separate entities that everybody now, you know, fights over, is this that genre or is this that genre? We're happy that we managed to straddle the line between all the subgenres in the 80s, because it's very much influenced by thrash. We're all Sodom, Creator, Destruction fans, you know, like Poison from Germany, stuff like that, or even newer thrash like Nocturnal. That's awesome, of course, as well. And Hellish Crossfire, you know, like basically bands that have that aggression, you know, from the 80s. Yeah, we're satisfied that came across, and that you can pick up on stuff like that. You know, I'm satisfied if you picked up on that. That's good enough for me, man. You know, for me, I look at two things. One is how the music makes me feel. If it unlocks certain gateways, like the atmosphere, if it's right, if it makes me feel a certain way, if it makes me basically connect to a certain frequency, and the other guys, I'm guessing it's the same for them as well, I can speak for them. If it makes you connect to a certain frequency when you play the songs in the rehearsal space and live, then it did its job. And it does, you know, for us. It makes us go wild. It elicits a certain emotion, and mentally it puts you in a certain headspace that I think playing occult metal should put you in, and listening to it, of course. And the second thing is that it does, like, that the audience reacts to it. Whatever way, you know, it can be just like internally as a listener, it can be at a show. And we always make sure that the stagecraft reflects the songs, and the songs have gone over well live. People have reacted very temperamentally to them, and that's what metal of that caliber to me is always about: temperament. So yeah, I'm satisfied with the way, you know, the music makes us feel, and with the way the people react, you know. As for the quality of the songwriting, like mechanically, technically, the playing, the production, that's, you know, we're so ingrained in that, I can't pass judgment on that. That's up to the reviewers and, you know,
Yeah.
the other musicians who are going to look at it and, you know, critique it or praise it or whatever. But I don't really lose sleep over that, to be honest. Like I said, to me, it's like if the people react, like if there's fists in the air, or if it made somebody think and immerse themselves, like I said, glean some kind of gold from it. If they did that, then I'm satisfied. And if it does that for us, I'm satisfied. And so far, so good.
Wonderful, wonderful, Andrej. And Andrej, finally, do you have any message for the fans and for the death metal fans around the world?
Yeah, you know, keep listening to what you're listening to, stick to it. Doesn't matter whether it's black metal, whether it's death metal, real songwriting, real kick-ass stagecraft, none of that has gone away. Keep your ears to the ground. There's killer bands who do that. Give us a listen if you haven't already. Watch the video for Vile Grace. It was premiered on Decibel magazine on August 9th. And watch out for Eldritch Anatomy, our debut album, on vinyl and on CD, coming out September 2nd. I think if you're into 80s death metal, black metal, Bathory, Possessed, Venom, Old Mayhem, you're gonna enjoy it, definitely, for sure.
Awesome, awesome, Andrej. And Andrej, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you on this interview to talk about the band and the upcoming album. A great pleasure to listen to you guys. Beautiful work again. And I believe a lot of guys will come fall in love with the band and start following you and enjoy the music like I did. So thank you so much for the music, and I hope to see you guys on the road real soon.
Oh, for sure. Thanks for the opportunity, man. Thanks for the opportunity. We don't take any of this for granted, and the kind words, that's awesome. Thank you very much, and we'll be seeing you, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Take care of yourself and have a great evening out there.
Take care. You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.